The movie begins with a young girl retelling an old Russian story about a mermaid who abducts people who fall under her trance. She adds that the only way to escape her grasp is to give away the person you hold dear in exchange for your life. In a public swimming pool, Roma tries to teach his aquaphobic fiancé, Marina, how to stay afloat. Not long after that, their friend, Ilya, joins them in the pool. He tells them about the bachelor party he's prepared for Kitaev, then challenges him to a friendly race. As the boys start their race, Marina lets go of the pool's edge and tries to stay afloat. Unfortunately, she starts to panic as she starts choking on the water. Luckily, Kitaev finishes the race just in time to save her from drowning. As Kitaev and Ilya make their way to the bachelor's party, Marina spends time with Kitaev's sister, Olga. Marina tells her the boys will use Olga's father's summer house for the bachelor's party. She adds that Olga's father had sent them the keys to the home some time ago. Shocked, Olga quietly points out that she and Kitaev's father hasn't shown up in 20 years. Ilya and Kitaev enter the rundown, abandoned house with flashlights when they arrive. Passing framed photos and dusty artifacts, Kitaev turns on the fuse box. The pair soon find out that the basement has been completely flooded. When they get interrupted by calls and cheerful hollers from outside, Ilya quickly invites their friends inside as they prepare for the party. However, Kitaev starts to feel uncomfortable when he sees women getting involved. He travels to the misty lake and dives into the murky, seaweed-filled water. At the dock, he suddenly sees a thinly blonde woman with wet hair wearing a shirt. She stares at him with distant black eyes and pulls a comb from her hair. He walks up to her, mesmerized, and comes into a kiss. After that, she quietly asks him if he loves her. As he stares back, she reveals her jagged teeth while the moonlight shines on her blood-soaked hair. Hours later, his friends find him passed out at the shore. As they bring him back to the cabin, Ilya notices the comb on the ground and brings it with him. Unfortunately, Marina soon finds the comb among Kitaev's clothes, raising suspicion. After swimming practice, Kitaev goes into the shower room. As he uses another stall, he hears a locker opening and closing in the distance. He cautiously walks over to the locker room to see a locker opening and closing by itself. When it stays open, he comes closer, getting drawn to it. Suddenly, a chill runs down his back as a familiar voice asks if he loves her. He quickly looks around but doesn't see anyone. Then, he quickly gasps as the locker door immediately shuts on his hands. Later, Marina gets on a call with Olga and shares her suspicion of Kitaev cheating on her. Marina proceeds to show Olga the comb she found in Kitaev's clothes. Despite the implications, Olga reassures her not to jump to conclusions and asks her to rest. The following day, Marina checks on Kitaev but hears the shower running. She slowly peeks inside and sees a nude Kitaev standing still as a woman's hand touches his hair. Furious, Marina opens the door to see no one there. Caught in disbelief, she looks around and sees the comb at the bottom of the tub. When she reaches down to it, she screams as she suddenly gets pulled down by two scaly hands. Gasping, she wakes up and realizes it was just a bad dream. During the qualifications, Kitaev dives into the pool when the race begins. Suddenly, he starts to panic as he sees seaweed, the pool walls dissipating into an endless dark blue. He swims to the surface and sees he's back at the lake. He swims to the dock, fainting promptly. He wakes to a blurry image of the strange blonde woman caressing his face. He shakes his head when he hears her asking if he loves her. Then, she shrieks, exposing her corpse-like face and cold eyes. Suddenly, Kitaev wakes up choking on water, finding himself back at the pool. He tells them about the young woman at the lake when he gets taken to a hospital. He looks at a shocked Marina and explains his uneasiness with the girl as if the mysterious woman is always watching him. He hesitantly looks at Marina and tells her about his kiss with the girl. Gasping in disbelief, Marina leaves the room. Kitaev immediately pulls out the fourth from his arm and runs after her. He struggles and bounces off the walls as he calls her name. When he sees Marina walking down one of the hallways, he follows her into a room to see someone behind a curtain. He steps forward, calls Marina's name, and pulls the curtain down, only to see no one. Then, he sees Marina standing at the other side of the room, looking at him distantly. Suddenly, Marina calls him from outside the room, concerned. In an instant, the fake Marina disappears as the door slams shut. Then, Kitaev turns around to see the clump of the curtain inching and crawling towards him. Kitaev carefully reaches for the fabric and opens it to see the young woman bent over. Instantly, she unwinds and quickly crawls up to him with a monstrous face. When Marina, Ilya, and Olga open the door, they see Kitaev, disoriented, wound up in the curtain. Knowing they have no idea how to stop the strange woman from the lake, Olga suggests they meet her and Kitaev's father. As Olga's father vigorously draws on a canvas, Olga brings up the woman from the lake and what she's done to Kitaev. Stopping, Olga's father reveals the look of disbelief on his messy face, saying it's impossible. They eventually get into an argument about the woman and the death of Olga's mother. He calms down from his hysteria and explains that the woman has been torturing him since he met her. He points out that Olga's mother had found a way to stop it. He then explains that ever since then, he's constantly traumatized by the woman's image in his head, making him turn them into the countless drawings he's done over the years. He tells them that Olga's mother had found something under the dock but explains that it won't help Kitaev. Determined to help her fiancé, Marina tells them they will go to the summer house. Marina fetches Kitaev water when they arrive, while Olga and Ilya go to the lake. Marina brings up water from the well, dropping the bucket when a fish wriggles. Then, the door from a nearby abandoned shed creaks loudly. A strange woman from inside disappears from view, drawing Marina closer. Meanwhile, Ilya uses a flashlight to approach an object in the lake bed. The water suddenly feels claustrophobic when the flashlight reveals the object to be a gravestone. Then, he gets attacked by corpse-like monsters. He quickly swims to the surface and gets on the nearby boat. After Olga pulls him back to safety from the water, Ilya tells her about the name on the grave, Lisa Grigorieva. Meanwhile, Marina enters the shed, seeing a mess of witchcraft materials littered around the room with candles. As creaks echo through the room, a young woman in the corner whispers for Marina to take what's hers and leave Kitaev. Her chants grow louder until she immediately turns around and shrieks, sending Marina to the ground. After the monster terrorizes her, Marina manages to run to the house. Panting, she sees a sickly and unresponsive Kitaev sitting in his seat. Suddenly, Kitaev gets pulled back to the wall and dragged to the basement by an unknown force. Shaken, Marina runs after him and pulls him back, shutting the door with her weight. After boarding up the basement door, Olga explains to them that the woman, Grigorieva, committed suicide centuries ago. Marina suggests the ritual that Olga's mother had done in the bath before, but Olga tells her it won't work. Convinced that this isn't something they can't run away from, Marina tells them that she'll do the ritual. She goes into the rundown shed and makes preparations for the ritual. She looks at the mirror and repeats Grigorieva's chant. Meanwhile, Olga finds Kitaev trying to open the boarded basement door, begging Grigorieva to take him. Olga tries to calm him down, but Kitaev suddenly turns violent. When Olga manages to get rid of the tool, Kitaev reveals his bloodshot eyes and strangles her. At the same time, Marina happens to find an old, dusty mirror and remembers an old saying about two opposing mirrors. She positions them and sets the comb in the water bowl next to her. Suddenly, a breeze enters the room, and the comb vanishes. In an instant, two hands shove Marina's face into the bowl. Giving her a glimpse into Grigorieva's memories, Marina discovers that Grigorieva had murdered her lover and drowned herself in the lake. Suddenly, Kitaev returns to his senses and jumps away from a petrified Olga. He quickly runs to Marina, passing Ilya, who Grigorieva had also taken over. He enters the smoke-filled room and reaches out his hand, calling Marina's name. When Marina grabs his hand, she comes closer and asks if he loves her. Suddenly, another Marina comes up to him and asks the same question. More and more Marina lookalikes close up on him, chanting the question. He looks around and finally sees the honest Marina and goes to her. When he tells her he loves her, a loud shriek rings through the room, breaking the mirror, Grigorieva's grave, and putting out the candles. When they regroup with Olga, Kitaev enters the house to find Ilya's body in the basement sinking into the water. After jumping in, he hears Grigorieva's voice, threatening to take everyone he loves. Shrieking, she suddenly rises from the water and jumps on him. Fortunately, Kitaev manages to get away with the help of Olga and Marina, speeding off the property right after. Unfortunately, the car breaks down shortly after. Marina notices Grigorieva in the distance as Kitaev goes out to fix it. Before she could get Kitaev's attention, Grigorieva suddenly came closer and locked the doors, filling the car with water. As Olga and Marina start to choke on the fast-rising water, Kitaev smashes one of the windows, freeing them. Determined to stop Grigorieva's terrorization of his loved ones, Kitaev runs to the lake to settle things. Marina tries to run after him but is stopped when someone knocks her out. Marina wakes up to see herself tied to a chair. Then, she hears Olga calling Grigorieva to give back Kitaev in exchange for Marina, convinced there's no other way to save her brother. Suddenly, Olga's father appears at the stairs, telling Olga that it won't work because it's not a voluntary sacrifice. Despite Olga's threats with a knife, her father manages to calm her down, dropping the knife. Then, they notice Grigorieva at the back of the room. Slowly, Olga's father removes his hood and begs Grigorieva to take him instead and let everyone else go. She morphs into a monstrous siren when he tells her he still loves her, pushing him into the water with a shriek. When Olga and Marina manage to cut off a part of Grigoryeva's tail, Marina realizes that Grigoryeva's power is in her hair. After a moment, Marina runs to Kitaev and tells him he must cut Grigoryeva's hair. However, Kitaev struggles to breathe as he chokes helplessly. Seeing no one else can do anything, Marina takes it upon herself to face her greatest fear and dives into the water. As Grigoryeva and Marina fight underwater, Marina grabs a piece of her hair, cutting it off. Suddenly, Kitaev starts breathing again, panting. When he sees Marina come up on the dock, he hugs her in relief. However, the air turns stale when Marina asks her if he loves her. Holding her gaze, Kitaev slyly grabs a nearby pair of scissors and swiftly cuts her hair. As deafening shrieks escape her mouth, Grigoryeva's face morphs into a different woman and, eventually, her proper monstrous form. After Kitaev rescues the real Marina, he resuscitates her before driving home. The movie ends with a hint of dread and suspicion as his fiancée mindlessly looks in the distance, finger combing her hair. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this to help the channel out. Have a nice day.